Welcome to Hypo Brew. I'm Tom Brennan. On this video, I'm going to be doing a product review, something I've actually never done before. I received this product during the holidays. I did not get it from anybody from the companies. The Anvil Forge burner. Something I've been wanting to do is upgrade my burner lately, and not to say there's anything wrong with my previous burner, but I just want a little bit more fire under my kettle. So I received this during the holidays, and so what I figured I'd do is I would show you guys through unboxing it, assembling it, using it during brew day, just to show you what it was like and to use it in case you're wondering what it's like to use the product. Again, I did not receive any money from Anvil or anybody else, so this is going to be a completely objective/subjective review of the burner. Hope you enjoy it, but first, the ska. So this is the beer that I brewed the day of the brew day in the video. It's a Belgian Pale. I will post the recipe down below, but essentially what it is, it's about 70% Pils, 12% Flaked Corn, 6% Munich, 2% Carafa III, and about 12% of the sugar I can't pronounce. Demerara Sugar in the raw, essentially. It's not a bad beer. I was actually using it because I wanted to do a big yeast cake for a double I was using, so I figured that a pale would be good enough. It's a decent beer. I would drink it every day. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So anyway, enough about the beer. Actually, wait, hang on. Let's wait 1 second. Okay. With that being said, so what I'm going to be doing also down below in the description, I'm actually going to have the jump sequence. So this way, if you don't want to watch the unboxing, you could skip it. If you want to see what it looks like assembled with some tips that I had when I was done assembling it, you could skip it. And then go through brew day. If you want to skip that, you could skip it. So I'm going to have kind of jump points through the description in case you were just kind of wondering what it was like to use the product, or you could watch the whole thing. That's fine too. It's all about sharing ideas, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing in the video. So we'll first go to the unboxing portion of the video. All right, so the shipping weight on this, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So the shipping weight on this is 16 pounds. The Anvil Forge here. So I'm sure most of this is the metal that comes with it, not the packaging. So already off the bat, it seems pretty solid. Let's open this up. Set of instructions. This is the Forge version 2 burner in here. Looks like I'm going to need some tools, so maybe I'll grab those in a minute. Right out of the box, looks like we have the legs set up here. It's some nice packaging. No idea what this is for, but I'm sure I will when I read the instructions. And then opening it up here, I've got just looks like some screws, some nuts, some washers there, some lock washers. These are the feet that appear to be on the bottom. That's the adjustable part you could have there, or the self-adjusting, I should say. And then we have, I guess, the brains, if you will, the operation. The burner, which is, this is a significant weight. This doesn't seem like it's made of just aluminum. This has got to be 4 or 5 pounds. So this is a pretty significant weight here. Then below we've got the hose line here. Okay, pretty standard stuff. This is the, I would say the valve. I'll say that, when you turn that, you can add air when you're going through the burner. I apologize in advance. That's the wrong thing to say. Not entirely sure what this could be, but we'll soon find out after reading the instructions. And we have what look to be more parts of the assembly here. There seem to be 3 pieces of this housing, and then the windscreen, which I can't pop out right now. But yeah, that looks to be like the windscreen. Again, it's pretty high. I'll get a tape measure after I get everything out of the box, and we'll go from there. But yeah, pretty significant. I'm thinking, after kind of taking a look at it, the most the most of the weight, again, is on this burner. Let me open it up here. Again, this is certainly not typical aluminum. But yeah, that's pretty, it looks like it's cast, whatever it could be. It could be cast iron. It doesn't really have that much, the weight of cast iron. It could be cast, like some kind of cast aluminum alloy. But it certainly is cast. You can see by the way they've buffed it out here, and you've got some issues, not issues, but that looks like sand, the way they put the sand in there and they casted it. But that shouldn't impact the way the burner goes. But again, this is most of the weight right here. So I guess we'll get it assembled. Here we are, all assembled. All in all, it took me 29 minutes. I have 2 recommendations for you when putting this together. First off, go to the Anvil website, and they have an assembly video. I would suggest checking that out, because as for instance here, these kettle supports that are here, there are 3 of them. When I was putting it together, reading the instructions, I actually put it on the outside, and okay, whatever, and then I realized that it didn't quite fit the way it should have. Looked at the video, and there was the person installing it, putting it in the inside, which makes a lot more sense to make this thing a lot more sturdy. There was certainly some thought put into this process and this design. I would also recommend getting a 10mm ratchet as well. It makes things a lot easier when you're tightening things up, especially these screws over here, these long bolts, I should say. So I would recommend getting a 10mm ratchet as well as the other items that they have installed in there. I'm going to be firing this up in the next couple of days, and I'll be testing things out. You know, it's funny. I'm out here. You've already seen me put together the Anvil, the Forge, and all morning long I've been mashing in. Actually, I've been mashing in all morning. I've got everything transferred over to my kettle, ready to fire up everything, and then as soon as I hit the record button on the camera, not only do I see dogs barking and hear dogs barking, but there's also now a car with very little muffler going. Anywho, what I'm gonna do now, oh, there, he's saying goodbye. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fire up the forge, the forge, and I'm gonna time to see how long it takes to get from the temperature I'm at now, which appears to be about 140 degrees. I'm going to time it to see how long it takes to get to boiling, because I think that's what a lot of us are looking to do. You know, how quickly can this thing fire up? I did it, you know, I couldn't wait. So what I did was I lit it up while I was mashing in with no kettle on top, and it was a bit breezy outside. So I fired it up. It would look gorgeous. I mean, you could see the ripples from the heat. You know, when with the heat, you see the ripples and the optics that get all messed up. It just looked fantastic. And now I can't see what'll happen when we actually put some wort underneath there and a kettle on top, or wort in the kettle on top. You get what I mean. And see how long it's going to take. So here we go. Hopefully the dogs won't be continuing to bark either. Before I fire things up, and I actually can't do that because it requires 2 hands. If I want to do it with one hand and sacrifice it for YouTube, for you guys actually, I may wind up burning my face off. So I'm not going to do that. I hope you don't mind. But anyway, this is where I'm going to be lighting everything right through this hole here. This windshield is actually pretty impressive. If you can see, you got the burners right below there. I'm going to fire it up, and we'll see what happens again, just to double check. We're looking at actually just under 140 degrees. And right now it's a little bit breezy outside and 45 degrees out, in case anybody was asking, or wondering, I should say. Got it fired up now. Here's 1:17 in the PM right now. So and actually, I've only just cracked this a little bit. The fuel, the regulator. That's what it's called, a regulator. It's not terribly noisy. I mean, it's probably just, I have a Dark Star burner. It's probably just as noisy as that. Let me turn it up a little bit. So right now I'm going to say I'm at maybe a quarter turn, right? And I now actually have it on full blast. It's actually not that much more loud, just a little bit. Again, the Dark Star, maybe it's because of the windscreen, but the Dark Star, which didn't have a windscreen, is much louder. So I'm actually just gonna, I'm gonna leave it on full, on full gas, if you will. And we'll see how long it takes. Again, it was 1:17 when I started this up. We're 13 minutes in, and we're looking right about 200 degrees. And it looks like I've got the beginnings of a hot break. I actually wanted to also mention, actually let me turn around here so you can hear me better. I also wanted to mention that the pre-boil volume of everything was 6.5 gallons. So, because if it were 10 gallons, it would take you a lot longer. If it was less, you kind of figure it out. All right, so 6.5 gallons, 13 minutes in. Looks like we've got some activity in the hot break going to happen soon. So I would consider that boiling once I start to see, the water churning around and everything else. Oh, look, a plane. Wait, hang on. Let's see, can you see it? All right, I'll do this. All sorts of fun things happening on brew day when I'm shooting a video. On a normal day when I'm just brewing whatever, nothing happens. But I've got dogs, I've got cars with no mufflers, I've got airplanes, and I've got, now I'm starting to realize this is actually fairly loud system. Okay for every other day brewing, but when you're shooting a video, it can be a bit loud. All right, let me get back to things before I have a boil over. 16 minutes in, we're at 210 degrees. And if you can see through some of the steam, it's actually a pretty cold day out. Like I said, 45 degrees out. But if you can take a look there, you are starting to see some boiling going on. So I'm going to say 16 minutes. I'm going to keep going, do my hot break here, and then I'm going to toss in the hops just to kind of give you a better idea of how long it's going to take. Again, it all depends on how much protein you pulled out of your grist and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to guess I'm going to be done with this in probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes. All right, so there we go. 16 minutes in on full gas on the Anvil, and we're looking at a break. Okay, so at this point, I was going to have a huge boil over. I grabbed the regulator, turned it off, but before I did that, I turned the camera off, which was kind of awkward. But I just yelled, "Oh, shoot!" And so now this is the aftermath of that. Boy, that was a close call, right? You can tell I'm a broadcaster because I say, "Oh, shoot," instead of "oh," So here we are. Take a look at things. I am 18 minutes? Yeah. 18 minutes out of when I fired up the burner. Take a look down here. We are at a gentle boil after I had to turn things down. But even now, I mean, just notice I turned it down to, this isn't a vigorous boil that I've got going on right now, but it's, it's enough. How quiet it has gotten here, huh? It's gotten pretty quiet. So today, in case you guys were, we'll turn it around again. In case you guys were wondering, I'm just brewing a pale, Belgian Pale. With just the grist is like a little Carafa III, some Pils, mostly Pils, some Flaked Corn, which should be interesting, Munich Malt, and I just have a single charge of Styrian Goldings, 3.5 ounces, and I'm just going to dump it in there and let it go for the hour. So there you have it, the Anvil Forge on brew day. What I'm going to do, hopefully, after all this, is I'm going to have you guys take a peek at the Anvil after it's kind of gone through its first burn, if you will, after an hour. So let me go dump these hops in, and I'll see you in a little bit. Don't worry, I'll push it down. All right, here we are. I actually am a little... I'm procrastinating, so I'm going to shoot this part of the video now rather than doing it after I'm done cleaning up. So that's why I've got the pump kind of laying there as if it were dead. The keg is back there, kind of chilling out. I do, however, have the beer in the fermenter, which is the important thing, and I'm going to be putting that away soon. I want to give you a quick overview of what happened after the first burn. As you could probably tell already, the fantastic orange color that was there, that kind of burnt orange, is actually now burnt. This is the soot that came off the propane. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. Quite honestly, I don't care. The thing performed well enough that I just don't care what the color is. However, the color is so great. I love that orange color, but it's going to be gone in the next couple of brew days, I'm sure. These support arms here are more than ample for my keg that I have, even my larger keg that I have, and it actually you can see the rings here of where it was kind of landed with the soot mark. So it's pretty big. I'm sure on their website they have the dimensions of how high you can go. So aside from the the cosmetic part here,
And I could actually like lean on this thing. I mean, I'm leaning on it and it's not moving at all. The only complaint I really have, and it's not really a complaint, is that, so imagine if you've got, let's see, this is your point of view that you have when you're going to light this thing, right? So I'm putting in my lighter, and it's a little hard to tell. See, it's a little hard to tell whether or not you've got flame on your lighter. So, and like my lighter's a little wonky, but it's a little hard to tell whether or not you have it there. And you know, you can't, if you have the keg on there, you can't look over. So it's kind of a little bit of a hole, but I'll take that because the windscreen just performed very well. Nothing was kind of blowing around. I didn't really get any additional heat or anything because of this big windscreen that's here, which is really it's done quite well and engineered quite well.
So quick wrap up of the timeline for the temperature rise in the kettle. So it started at about 137 degrees. It was 45 degrees outside too, 6.5 gallons of wort. In 13 minutes, I got up to the hot break. At 16 minutes, I got up to a rolling boil at about 210 degrees. So, all in all, pretty short amount of time, considering you know, the amount of beer or the amount of wort I had, the amount of liquid, and how quickly it got up there. 16 minutes is pretty good, and I had it cranked super high. It was loud while I was going on full blast. But when I turned it down, it was practically quiet, I do have to say, regardless of all of the noise from the dogs and the airplanes and the car with no mufflers all over the place. But yeah, so pretty quick overall. So overall, the strength of the burner itself, you know, the amount of weight it could support, I mean, it could definitely support a fair amount. As I mentioned in the video, just check out what kind of weight it can handle. I'm sure they have the specs on the website. This was a 6.5 gallon batch or boil when I started out with it, just to kind of give you an idea how quickly it heated that up. It was noisy on full blast, but you know, when you turn it down, I usually do I don't do a rolling boil. I'll just do almost a simmer, a little bit over simmer kind of thing. So when I had it there, then there was hardly any noise in there at all. The one thing I would give it for is a nick. The only nick I would give would be the lighter. When you're sticking your lighter into that small hole in the windscreen, which I get why you need to have it there, you know, a smaller hole so the wind doesn't get in. The problem that I had was just I couldn't see, and again, my lighter is not the best, so, you know, if you have a lighter that you click it once and the light's perfect, you're good. Mine, I kind of got to wait a little bit, so that's the only nick I would really give it. And after the first use, that, you know, burnt propane, I don't know why that is. I think I read somewhere it had to do with like the kind of propane you were using or something like that. It doesn't have anything to do with the burner, but that soot got all over the place. And, you know, who cares, right? It was orange and now it's burnt black orange, whatever. It's still gonna work. The burner itself performed just fine. So that's pretty much the whole thing in a wrap up. Again, I'll post the recipe. I'll also have everything else down below. And don't forget to subscribe to Hypo Brew if you haven't already. The whole bunch of tips and tricks, but you've probably seen all the videos that I have already. So again, thanks so much for watching this. And if you're out there, thanks for watching it too. This is a real user using your product and giving a review of it. Take care, guys. And oh wait, cheers.